G'day and welcome to another edition of the Rev Up.
We're back.
We're back after a couple of weeks of being completely flat and throwing the toys out of the pram.
Well, no, I was away 1 week, but the other 2 weeks, yeah, sure.
I think it's only been 2 weeks.
No, it's been 3, hasn't it?
I can't remember. Anyway, we're back.
We're back anyway. Who cares?
And we're back to cover a vital game. Not only is it 4 premiership points, it's draft picks.
Oh,
It's the whole lot.
Yeah.
It's the 2019 AFL Grand Final between Adelaide and Carlton.
well, Carlton have picked their shit up, so it doesn't look like we're going to get pick 1 or 2 anymore.
No, and then Gold Coast will probably get a priority, so that takes us down to 3. Melbourne are underneath, so that'll be about 4. Maybe even St Kilda.
They're on their standing coach now, so they'll take back. Yeah. They'll take up the ladder. So
we're cooked.
Yeah, we're done.
Carlton might actually finish above us.
Well, wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't that?
Not at all.
Whoever did that trade would be going, yeah, see, told you, knew it.
Yeah,
knew
bloody
it.
sauce.
Yeah, knew it.
Never hear the end of it.
Knew it.
Anyway, look, it is a big game, but before we get into it, I'd just like your thoughts briefly on last week's capitulation against the Bombers at home with finals on the line.
I tell you what,
Yeah,
I'm pretty mad.
right.
Not like I'm mad at obviously the performance, but I'm also mad at like the amount.
Life?
Well, yeah, but to a lesser extent, the fans that have just launched on our forward line, the coaches that have launched on our forward line.
Yeah.
When I don't really think they're necessarily the problem.
No.
I am not saying that they're not out of form. That's not what I'm getting at. But there's a really, really big argument to say that our forward entries in the second half were atrocious.
Yes.
Our midfield defensive running was atrocious.
Yes.
And that's where the game was lost. We lost all contested possession. We lost clearance count as well in that third quarter. When Jakey Stringer kicks that goal, we were basically non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And to hang it on the forwards, and we'll get to selection in a minute about Eddie being dropped, I think is a fucking joke, to be honest. The amount of times I watched us kick over Tex's head when he's out clear on a lead and then bomb it in behind him when there's no one leading into the space.
Or just bail out to Eddie 3-on-1.
Or kick it to Lockie Murphy or kick it to Tex with a 3-on-1. Like, there's only so many times you can ask Tex to pull something out of his ass to get it done. Like, he kicks that stupid goal in the second quarter off the back of a good contest and a follow-up.
Yep.
Like, what else do you want him to do? He can't kick goals if he doesn't have the ball in his hand.
Well, he's the lead up forward. And he's leading up and no one's hitting it.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe he's creating space, but then there's no one leading him behind him. And Jenkins doesn't lead, and that's fine. That's the type of forward that he is. But then we've got to honour Tex's lead, otherwise he may as well not even be there.
Yeah, and if we had a half-decent forward coach, Jenkins would probably learn to fill the space. But anyway, look, I agree with you.
Just stupid. And everyone launching on him has actually done my head in. Even Pikey, forward pressure was bad. Mate, we had 3 fucking inside 50s in the third quarter. What the
5.
Oh, sorry, 5. What the fuck?
5. I think it was 5 to 19
and
from memory.
they were like to nothing. So how are you supposed to put pressure on the ball coming out when you're kicking to the opposition and turning the ball over in the air?
I agree.
What the fuck is he supposed to do there?
Agree.
Pressure him on the mark? Stupid.
I agree.
Stupid.
Well, let me read some statistics to you, Cameron.
Please, because I bet you'll back me up because I know what I'm talking about.
Well, let's look at some third quarter stats, right? So Bradley Crouch, who everyone knows that listens to the Codcast, the podcast is not my fave, not my fave.
Yeah, not a fan.
But it's not that I'm not a fan. I just expect more. And when the Whips were cracking in the third quarter, it started to turn towards the end. Essendon started getting some rebound 50s towards the end of the second.
And look, just to cut you off quickly there, that was sort of in line with the ebb and flowing of how the game was going. It was sort of, we'd get a few, they'd get a few, we'd get a few, they'd get a few. So you're right, at the end of that second quarter, they started getting back on top, and you sort of expected us to come out after half-time and breathe fire.
Yep.
Nothing.
Now, people will see that I'm messing around with
with a laptop.
With a laptop. There's a reason for that, and what we're looking at hopefully will appear on your screens. But Cameron, I just want to show you something, because you say it was ebb and flow, that rebound 50 count.
For the first half it was.
But look at this, please. Look at this, please.
I'm looking. Yes, ebb and flowing.
One moment.
Should we have some interlude music?
No, we don't have to. We don't have to have interlude music. Those rebound 50 stats, and if you the other graph that I'm not going to fiddle around with now, but I'll put up on the actual recording. the last 5 minutes of the second quarter,
Yep.
there was a steep incline of Essendon rebound 50s.
Yep.
It's because our forward 50 entries got shallow.
Yep. Well, it's not just shallow, but they were kicking to nothing. There's nothing wrong with a shallow entry if you're hitting a lead up.
Yeah, but they're not.
We weren't doing that.
Yeah, that's right. So let's have some stats. Bradley Crouch, right? Third quarter, 1 clearance, 1 contested possession in the third quarter. He's our number one midfielder. Rory Sloane, co-captain, warrior, all-round good guy. In the third quarter, 1 clearance, 1 contested possession.
Yep.
Wayne Miller, our up and coming
budding star
midfielder, in the third quarter, no clearances, no contested possessions, and 3 effective disposals.
And look, 100% understand that they didn't always play in the midfield in that quarter, but the reason why, and you go back and watch the game, the reason why they got rotated out of there is because we started getting hammered.
That's right.
So, even though those stats might be a little bit skewed in terms of how much midfield time they actually played in that quarter, the reason why they got thrown out of there is because we were getting absolutely hammered. And that's when Pike decided to, run Smith and all that through there as well.
Dylan Shield, third quarter.
Yeah, it was a big quarter.
He's had 3 clearances, 6 contested possessions, and 6 effective disposals.
And probably about 3 score involvements.
Yeah.
Including, did he kick a goal as well, I think?
Well, I can tell you score involvements. He did have 3 score involvements, actually.
Yeah.
So
Zaharakis would have been another one as well.
Well, and Merritt, of course. So, look...
Yep.
And Jakey Stringer, if you look at Jake Stringer's...
third quarter,
Third quarter with his contested possessions. And
probably had all of them in that second half, just about. From about halfway through the second onwards.
Yeah, well, he had... what did he have there? He had four contested possessions. How many clearances did he have? And 2 clearances.
Yeah, and 1 in the fourth as well.
Yeah. So, it's not our forwards. Because if in that third quarter... We got the ball in our forward 55 times.
Yeah.
And the stats don't lie. And the stats tell you that our mainstay midfielders in that third quarter did not work hard enough.
Well, anyone that's ever had any small thing to do with the game in terms of playing it, officiating it, whatever, will know that it's not about, defensive pressure coming out if the ball isn't getting delivered properly. Defensive pressure is about when the ball gets delivered properly but it gets brought to ground, and then your small forwards hold it in from there, you set up the wall, all that sort of stuff. But if the ball is being turned over in the air, there's only so much you can do coming out, and it's not up to the small forwards at that stage, it's up to your next line, which is your midfielders.
That's right.
And in that third quarter, the ball was getting turned over in the air, and the ball was getting bounced out through McKenna and all that, and our midfielders were 10, 15 metres behind their players and not chasing.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing, not chasing. I can understand we're slow, I get that. But then if we're slow, we shouldn't be on the offensive side of our players. We should be on the defensive side.
That's right.
We should know. I don't know why we keep and even in stoppages, we set up all offensive side. And then the ball gets hit out the back and they're out.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And someone during the week mentioned to me, but Brad Crouch tackling, blah, blah, blah. Brad Crouch is a great tackler as long as he's like the person with the ball is a foot away from him.
Yeah.
But I defy anyone to show me any footage of Brad Crouch chasing and tackling.
The funny thing about that is that everyone wants to get on Tex's case for not chasing and tackling. The bloke's a key forward.
Yeah.
If he's going to tackle, it's going to be in his area. But if you want someone to actually go and chase someone, it's your midfielder.
Yeah.
Tex is never going to be a chase down tackler, but your midfielders should be.
Right.
And Brad never does it.
And there's also, I would imagine, an unspoken rule that your ruckman... Your ruckman shouldn't get more clearances and contested possession than your number one midfielder.
Yeah.
Riley O'Brien with 3 contested possessions and 2 clearances for the quarter in the third.
Yeah.
And leading contested possession winner for the game.
Equal with our outside midfielder in Brodie Smith.
Yeah, well, Brodie Smith had 12, I think. Riley had something like 17 contested possessions.
And his disposal efficiency was pretty good considering it was all inside.
Yeah. And the main point is that they're the numbers that Brad and Rory should be getting. Now, Rory Sloane was being tagged by a first-year player.
I didn't even realise he was being tagged.
Well, he was being tagged by a first-year player.
Who?
I knew you'd ask me that.
Well, why'd you say it then? Come on, mate. Be prepared.
D. Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, first-year player. And couldn't shake a tag. First-year player. So Rory's got to be better than that. Or else, if Rory just simply cannot shake a tag, then we've got to play him somewhere else. Yeah. And I think it's high time that we consider playing Rory Sloane on the wing.
Or at half-back. A bit like what we did with Goody at the end of his career.
See, I'd rather play him wing or forward.
Yeah. Because he started his career on the wing.
Yeah. Well, he's a wingman. He gut runs. He can burn off an opponent. He can kick long into forward 50.
Strong in the contest.
You know, that was what we're seeing from guys like Seedsman and Smith. That's what we used to get from Sloaney. People forget.
Yeah.
I can remember Sloaney doing those big gut runs down the fat
Busting
side.
His ass,
getting the ball, a bounce or two to get to the 50 and either slot the goal or hit it into the...
Because he's a good finisher and he's got a good kick on him.
So we need to release him. If he genuinely cannot break a tag...
And look, I did see him line up on the wing a couple of times as well, but I think he was struggling to break that tag. But
I just think he needs to be out of it. Clear him out of it.
Well, the other thing as well is that, like, he's been a Warrior for that long. He's going to have bad games here and there. He's definitely had a lot more better games than bad games. We'll give him that. So if he is having a bad game, you've got to rely on your other midfielders just to step up and take the load, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't. Well, and that's the bottom line, I think, and we don't want to labour the point too much on last week, but that's the bottom line. For, third or fourth time this season, we've blown a 5-goal lead.
Yep.
And you know...
Spectacularly. It's not just been a little bit.
So the first time it was against West Coast, all right, it was West Coast.
And it was I think it was only like a 40-point turnaround in the end, or a 30-point turnaround.
Yeah, they were... Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
The next time it was Geelong, and you could say, all right, it's Cardinia Park, all right, fair enough. The next time it was Port, and you could say, oh, it's a showdown.
But Port was the one... It was like a 65-point turnaround.
Oh yeah, it was massive. They won going away.
We just didn't win the ball in that third quarter.
Yeah. But still, you could say, right, it's a showdown. Form goes out the window. These things happen.
Roll, rah.
But this was Essendon.
Yep. At home.
Undermanned. Essendon,
Undermanned.
Severely depleted. Didn't have a ruckman. You know, had a couple of key personnel out.
Yep.
They're below us on the ladder. They traditionally do not travel well.
Yep. Heppel was down and out as well. Come in off injury. He's not playing this week.
Carrying a foot.
Yeah.
You know.
He's carrying a foot. What's he doing that? He's supposed to be on the end of his leg.
Yeah, I know. But if you look at Heppel's last quarter,
I know, it's huge.
I mean, Dyson Heppel, who shouldn't actually have been on the park.
Yeah.
You know, he had 5 contested possessions in that last quarter. You know, when the game is there to be won, none of our blokes
kicked a big goal.
Yeah. So the Essendon game is the one that killed it for me, because to me it just showed a lack of heart.
Yeah.
Lack of heart. When Essendon made a couple of moves, when they cranked up the pressure a little bit, when they started to run harder.
Yep. We didn't want to go with them.
We didn't want to go with them.
No.
Brad Crouch, Rory Sloane, we know Matt Crouch can't chase.
Yep.
Wayne Miller, Rory Atkins.
The only two people or players, and it might be a bit harsh, but I think the only two players that can hold their head up high and said, I had a good game, was Riley O'Brien and Brodie Smith.
Yep.
Brodie Smith probably had the game of his life.
Yeah, certainly.
What else do you want him to do? 30 plus disposal, kicked 3 goals, had 5 or 6 marks, 5 or 6 tackles. He doesn't get better than that for Brodie.
No, that's right.
And it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
He almost put us on his back and carried us over the line himself.
That's right. So it's all about heart. So with all that said and done, let's talk about this week's selection, shall we? Because you would expect a response from Adelaide this week, both on the field but also at the selection table. So let's talk about selection.
Bloody Rude's carrying on in the media, and he's on the selection committee about, changes this, changes that. What the fuck did we actually change?
Well, let's tell the good folk. All right. What have we actually changed?
Well, let's just go through the team first. I'll let it simmer for a second. Let me just center myself.
Do you want me to do Carlton first? Because we get Carlton out of the way.
Yeah, get them out of the way. Get them out of the way.
So here's Carlton. It's a team on the up with David Teague, who'll know all our tricks, because you could put them on one page, David Teague.
Yeah, and he invented them.
Yeah. So from the backs, we've got Lockie Plowman, Liam Jones, Nick Newman, half-backs, Dale Thomas, Jacob Wiedering, Cade Simpson. Talk about Dad's Army there with Simpson and Thomas. Across the middle, we've got Setterfield, Patrick Cripps, who on half a leg will probably be licking his chops.
Well, do you remember the last time we played it?
Yes.
Even though we've been by 100 points,
That's
it broke
right.
the bloody contested possession
That's
record.
right. Yeah, didn't shy. Lockie O'Brien on the other wing. Half forwards we have Michael Gibbons, Leapin Levi Casbolt, and Josh DeLuca.
Yeah.
At full forward, we've got Zach Fisher with Harry McKay, big Harry McKay, who I really rate.
Yeah, I rate him as well.
He's going to be a good player, and Jack Silvani.
He's in a bit of form as well, Silvani.
Yep.
After being dropped.
Yeah. So just starting to come good. People forget he was a bottom age draft pick.
Yep.
And he's just taken a little while, but he's starting to come good now.
Yeah.
In the rucks, they got Andrew Phillips, who's just a statue, so you would imagine that Riley O'Brien is going to have an absolute field day.
He's not that bad, Andrew
He's
Phillips.
actually that bad.
He's not that bad.
Even Carlton supporters say he's that bad.
Well, he's good for my fantasy team, so leave him alone. He's averaging like 86 for a couple of games he's played.
Ed Curnow.
He'll probably go to Rory with thought if he's playing in the midfield because he's played a bit of forward.
Yeah,
so.
and Sam Walsh. Interchanges, Petruski, Seaton, Mark Murphy, Darcy Lang and Matthew Kennedy. They've brought in, obviously, Andrew Phillips and lost Matthew Cruiser managed.
He's always injured.
He's pretty injury prone. He's probably killed his career, Matthew Cruiser.
Well, he could be in anything.
Yeah.
And like every time he plays, they're infinitely better for it.
Yeah. He's a very good player with a lot of bad luck.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Still going strong, though, to his credit.
Oh, to his yeah, absolutely. So, it's a Carlton team that's won a few since...
well, it's not just that they've won a few, but they've been in every game since.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing, I think.
Yes. He's got them playing for him.
Yep.
I don't know whether their style has changed. I think they're running a bit better.
I think there's just a bit more energy in the group.
Yeah.
It's like it's been shown time and time again when you get that caretaker coach come in.
Dead cat bounce.
Yeah. Fresh face, bit of rejuvenation, get the blood flowing again. Yeah. It gets a bit more energy around it, and then a game plan will turn into a decent one.
And the only thing that kills that sort of momentum is a good, honest flogging by a good team.
Yep. Which we're not at the moment.
Well,
like
this is
negative.
what Adelaide should be able to deliver.
Yeah.
A good, honest 10-goal win.
Yep.
Well,
when you look at it on paper,
against a team that is nowhere near them on paper. But speaking of on paper, let's have a look at the Adelaide Crows, shall we?
All right, starting from the back line, we've got Brownie, Talia and Hardigan. Half back line, we've got Smith, Kelly and Rory Laird. Centre line, Nida retains his spot, Rory Sloan in the guts and Miller on the wing. Half forward line, we have Crouch, Walker and Tommy Lynch.
B Crouch.
B Crouch. Full forward line, we've got Murph, Jenkins and Stengel back in. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm happy that he's in there, but I'm not happy who came out for him.
Yep.
Riley O'Brien is the ruckman. Following, we've got Crouchy, and then Paddy Wilson gets another gig as well.
Matt Crouch.
Whatever. We already said the other one was Brad. And then, obviously, Paddy Wilson, big in.
Yes.
Weird in. Happy he's playing. Don't understand it at the same time, but we'll get to that in a sec.
Yes.
Interchange, Seeds, McKay, the Rat, and then big boy, Andy Otten. He's back.
Well, he's been knocking at the door. He's been on the emergencies for like the whole season.
Has he even played? Like, I don't know when the last time he would have played because he's been the emergency for the last
He's been good
weeks.
in the SANFL. He's been very solid.
And Andy Otten is. We know that. And look, if anyone's going to come in, he's probably the only one we've got for Keith, to be honest. So, and then on the emergencies, we've got Jacobs still just waiting for Rob to
fall over,
take a dive or something. It's not going to happen, I don't think. Dougie and then Fogarty still can't get a gig, and then Keith is the emergency. So, just to recap, ins are Stengel, Pat Wilson, and Andy Otten. For Huey Greenwood, Eddie Betts, and then Keith has been managed.
So, can we just go through the ins?
Stengel, Wilson, and Otten.
So let's start with Stengel. Right, so Stengel
shouldn't have been dropped in the first place.
Well, let's look at that. He kicks 3 on debut. All right, it's Gold Coast, but it doesn't matter.
Still
he kicks 3 on debut.
He got one Joe the Goose. The other two were good.
Yeah. And then inexplicably gets dropped against a team that is renowned for being a pacey team.
Who did we drop him for as well? Was it D-Mac?
Could have been.
I
can't remember.
Irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so he's out. So he comes back in, but he comes back in off kicking 4 points in the twos. So Donny Pike coming out and saying we were rewarding form. Well, he kicked 4 points in the twos.
I've got no issue with him being played.
Oh, God, no, me either. But what I'm saying is...
Yeah, it's an inconsistent message coming from the coach.
Why didn't you just keep him in the team? Yeah. Why was he dropped?
Well, and not just that, but why have we dropped Eddie? So, and this sort of leads me into the next point. We've dropped Greenwood and brought in Pat Wilson. So you think if you're going to drop Greenwood on form, it's because you want someone who's going to play more midfield minutes and you're willing to sacrifice his versatility down forward. Correct?
Yes, and because you may want a little bit more pace.
Yes, correct. So instead of bringing in or retaining, Eddie and then bringing in Stengel, you've decided to drop Eddie as well, meaning that we're still the same height and pace down forward.
Yep.
In my mind, if you're going to drop Greenwood and lose that versatility, who, let's be honest, is the only bloke that can take a contested mark in our forward line at the moment, and bobs up, even though he hasn't been in great form, bobs up, does a few good things.
Yes.
You want to go small, don't you?
Yep.
Because otherwise, what's the freaking point?
I agree.
Because now we're resting Brad Crouch and whatever other midfielder on the half-forward flank. How about you get some balls, drop one of the midfielders that isn't in form, and retain Eddie and bring in Stengel and have a much more potent and smaller and quicker forward line?
I can guarantee you that Patrick Wilson will not be in the first rotation.
Yeah.
He's been named in the first rotation with O'Brien and Matt Crouch. There is not a chance in hell that Patrick Wilson will line up at the centre bounce.
And if he
it'll be Brad Crouch, Matt Crouch, and Riley O'Brien with Sloane.
Yeah, but even so, even if he does, it's sort of not the point because you've actually brought in someone who is just as slow, if not slower, than Greenwood.
Well, he's an inside mid.
Yeah, and we've got 4 of them.
Yeah,
what's the point?
Yeah,
why have we brought him in? Don't get me wrong, I like that we've given him a crack, but he's been in good form for 2 years.
Yeah.
Why are we bringing him in now?
And that's the other point, I guess, that you would have thought, based on selections, that Patrick's time at the club was over. You would have thought that his card had been stamped.
Yeah.
Because he's put in some powerful, dominant games.
He's averaged like 30-plus disposals for an entire year.
If he wasn't playing for Adelaide, he would be short price favourite for the McGarry this year.
Yep.
So all that form, and we wait until round whatever it is now, 19, to play him. Where's the development of the lad? I mean, what have we been waiting for? If he's part of our future plans, what have we been waiting for?
Yeah, his form in the twos doesn't get better than what it's been producing.
No.
Like, it doesn't get better than that. And in terms of midfield balance, it's freaking stupid.
Yeah.
Because we've basically put someone in there who is going to probably get the same amount of possessions as what Greenwood would have, but can't roll forward and take a contested grab.
Yeah.
He's not a small forward because he's mid-sized. He's not quick, so he's not going to be able to put forward pressure on, which apparently is the biggest issue we've got at the moment, according to Pike, even though I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
If you're going to go down that line of thinking, why wouldn't you go smaller?
I agree.
Keep the 3 of Walker, Tommy Lynch and Jenkins, and then play 3 genuine smalls.
Yeah. That's right.
Don't play a resting midfielder. Don't bring in a Wilson who is not quick. Bring in someone who's actually quick. So bring in Stengel, but then keep Betts.
Yeah.
Or bring in Davis, who is sharper.
That's right. And can take them up. Now, here's the other thing.
Just doesn't blow my mind.
On top of that, we've got Eddie Betts getting dropped, and the coach coming out and say Eddie's been inconsistent, hasn't been able to produce his form, blah, 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 blah.
He kicked 6 goals against the Suns.
That's right.
And had 20 possessions.
That's right. On top of that, not only was he in the side with Stengel that day, and it was a welcome return to form for Eddie, and yes, it was Gold Coast.
So what? Still got to kick him.
But last week, Lachlan Murphy, in a team that supposedly lacked forward pressure,
didn't have a tackle inside 50.
Did not lay a tackle inside forward 50.
And look, Eddie only had 1. But if you're going to talk about that,
well, I mean, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, exactly. But
Eddie Murphy.
No. But on top of that as well, I don't think Eddie actually played that bad. I actually think that he went out there with the same intent that he did against Gold Coast, but he had no supply.
Less opportunities.
Yeah. And, we're talking about, he didn't have any tackles inside 50. It's because either we were taking marks and kicking goals or we were dumping it and not giving him an opportunity to even apply pressure. Yeah. And he still did. There was times where he forced turnovers.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know what the fuck they're on about.
Lachlan Murphy is he spends a lot of time looking busy, but his stats do not back. He doesn't hit the scoreboard. Lachlan Murphy does not hit the scoreboard, and he is not actually laying forward 50 tackles.
He hits the scoreboard when he's got opportunity. It's the same as Eddie, and I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but he misses a lot.
Yeah, so does Eddie.
9 goals.
So does Eddie. So does Eddie. Eddie doesn't have a set shot, but Eddie will kick one from nowhere as well. So, much of muchness. But I still think that there's room in the side for him, Eddie, and Stengel. I don't know.
Yeah, but if there's not, then I don't think Eddie's the one to go.
No, I agree.
I think Murphy's the one to go.
Well, I don't even think you do that. I think you change the balance up and you drop Atkins and bring in someone else.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's what I think you do, because Murphy can play on a wing.
Yeah, well, that's true. So that's the forward line. The forward line is terribly confusing because...
look, Andy Otten coming in for Keith, whatever.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because Alex Keith is being managed. Apparently, he's got a bad ankle. He has looked a bit banged up the last month.
Well, yeah, he's been knocked around a bit. He got one on the knee as well.
Yeah, he got a corky, I think. And so that's cool. I don't actually mind Andy Otten coming in.
Well, he's up. Who else is going to come in?
And that's the point, because the only other key position defender we've got in the club is young...
Straw?
No. The young lad.
Oh, Butts.
Yep. Geordie Butts. And he's 19.
Probably a bit
not ready.
Well, and not only that, but we look at how we're going to line up, and we'll go through that in a second, but they don't have a third tall.
And that's my point.
And Jake Kelly normally takes that. Like, their third tall would be Silvani, who is perfect matchup for Jake Kelly, who's been playing pretty well.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make sense.
It's not that Otten doesn't make sense for Keith in terms of a like for like, because you can see that reasoning.
Yeah.
But really, we don't need... We are far too tall down back, and we've done this a couple of times this year. We seem to have an obsession with having these three talls in our
Which is
team.
interesting, because when we had Day, we didn't.
Nope.
But look, at times I feel like that our key posts look lost when we don't have the three. But then there's also been times where it doesn't matter. We just get burnt on the floor anyway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a good segue into what we're about to talk about next.
Yeah. So let's have a look at how we match up zone to zone.
Yeah.
We've talked about the individuals. Now let's see how it sort of plays out. And let's look at the Carlton forward line versus our defence to start off with. And they've obviously got the two big tools in Harry McKay and Levi Casbolt,
who can both clunk the ball.
Both clunk the ball, absolutely. And Harry McKay is a real handful, I think. He can get out on the lead a bit.
Haven't made much mention of the McGovern not being in the side as well.
No, that's right. Can't get a look in, Mitchie.
Yeah,
Gibbs still getting the coin, though.
Gibbs can't get a look in. McGovern can't get a look in.
You think about it, we've got Jacobs, Gibbs and Betts out for Adelaide and McGovern out for Carlton. It's maybe they made a pact.
Weird old world.
Yeah, I know,
Maybe
right?
he's scared.
Yeah.
Kurt Tippett.
Do you reckon?
Nah, not at all. McGovern's not the type of bloke that'd shirk a contest, I don't think so. I think he's just injury prone and out of form.
So they've got those two tools surrounded by mids and smalls, basically. Gibbons, DeLuca, Fisher and Silvani.
Yep.
Silvani probably is their medium.
Yeah. Well, he's their sort of Hugh Greenwood, I would have thought, to be honest. He can run through the midfield, take a grab, kick goal. He's not overly quick, but he's skillful.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, when we sat down at selection, given that that's the same forward line that Carlton put up last week. There's no Charlie Curnow there.
Yep.
What were the Adelaide selectors looking at, do you think, that made them think, my God, we better play a very, very tall and slow defence this week?
I think that we get caught up on how we want to play, and a lot of that is that third defender coming in over the top. But what that often means is if they don't set up quick enough, or if the ball carrier for Carlton is smart enough to use the mismatch that we're going to create, it's going to leave us in the lurch. And it happens a lot. And the argument should be, well, yes, we want that third tall up, but really can't Jake Kelly do both?
Well, Jake Kelly should be able to do both. And the problem is, as you rightly point out, you've got the third man up, he brings the ball to ground.
But then on the deck...
Who's got the crumbers?
Yeah, it's relying heavily on that third guy up to take a mark.
Exactly.
And, that's all well and good, that's fine, but you're putting a lot of pressure on a bloke to take a contested mark when the ball's coming in hot, because last few weeks we've seen that there's no fucking pressure on the ball carrier coming through the midfield.
Yeah.
So you're relying on him, A, to make position, B, to take the mark, and 3, if he does bring it to ground, to kill the contest.
Yeah.
That's a big 3 years.
Well, it is. And as you say, if the ball comes in quick, which it often does from our defence, or from our forward line, I should say, it's going to be a one-out contest anyway.
Yep.
But if the ball comes in slower, you can bet your life that Teague's just said to McKay and Casbolt, just bring the ball to ground.
Yeah.
Just let our
And don't be anywhere near each other.
no, just bring the ball to ground. Just allow our smalls to go to work.
Or if that third tall's peeling off, use the small and hit him up.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's not hard.
No.
And we've been burnt a couple of times with a small forward of the opposition just being by himself, and you're like, where's his man?
Well, we played tall against Geelong. We played tall, I think, against Richmond.
Worked out against Richmond because they were undermanned as well.
Yeah.
But they almost came back as well.
So, I don't like it. We also played tall against Port, I think.
Yeah.
And Port only had Dixon.
No, they had Dixon and...
Dixon and the young...
Howard.
Yeah. But then they had a bunch of mosquitoes running around and it killed us.
Yep.
So I don't like it. I don't like it at all, mate.
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all.
I
I think we're going to get found out.
Please stop.
Yeah. All right. So it's a really interesting selection. That
You mean shit is the word you're looking for.
Yes.
Interesting is 2PC.
I can't work it out.
So after all that, how do you reckon we line up midfield-wise? Because, again, I'm concerned. Because the other thing as well, we don't actually know if how our halfbacks and wings are going to line up. Is Brodie Smith going to play halfback again this week? Is he going to be that extra at the stoppage and play half forward like he was last week? Is he going to play on the wing? What's he actually going to do?
Well,
is Lairdy going to be playing a kick behind? Is he going to be up at the contest? Is Miller going to be in the midfield? Or is he going to go to halfback? It's hard to see how that's going to play out.
I don't think it's hard to see at all.
Okay, I'll just shut the fuck up then.
Only because we know what Adelaide does. And selections will tell you that we're going to do exactly the same as we've done last week and the week before and the week before that, because our selection has been like for like. There's been no inkling of any change of strategy or anything.
Yeah.
We've brought in Stengel for Betts, we've brought in Wilson for Greenwood, and we've brought in Otten for Keith.
Yeah.
Like for like. Stick with the game plan, boys. Just back the boys in. So
Stick with the game plan, just play better.
Yes, exactly. Take your learnings, etc.,
and play better. Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to see much different. I think
there's a positive that comes from that. I think Smith playing the same role is a good thing because it worked really well last week.
Yeah.
I don't like Miller in the midfield at the moment. I think that he's been thrown around way too much. I just think that he needs to go back to half-back and just get back to what he was doing well.
I actually think he's a genuine half-back. I think he's an Andy McLeod. Yeah. He does his best work running at the ball. And I can see Wayne Miller developing over time into a midfielder.
I liked him in the midfield initially, but you're right.
He goes missing a lot.
Yeah, he does. And I think that even though I don't mind him as a midfielder and even as a forward, to be honest, because he's dangerous when he goes forward as well, I still think that his best footy's at half-back. And I think that him being thrown around so much has actually messed with him a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
He was in great form at the start of the year, and since we started getting a bit cute with him, he's lost the plot a little bit. I think we just need to put him back to half-back and let him do his thing.
Who's the other midfielder you reckon we've messed up form-wise because we've messed him around? Huey Greenwood.
Yeah, Greenwood. Remember
when him and CY were the two blokes in the middle because that's what we needed?
Yeah.
And they just tore it up.
Yeah.
Everyone was going, we can't have CY and Greenwood in the middle next minute.
They were killing everyone, yeah.
You know. And then as soon as the Crouch boys come back, Greenwood sort of shuffled down to the forward line and, what are we going to do with Hugh? And we're probably going to trade him anyway. And
I'll cry if we trade Hugh just on
Well,
site.
we're going to.
I will. I'll cry.
Well, we will trade him, so prepare to cry. And look, I'm with you to a degree. I think I love Huey. I think most Adelaide footy fans do. But on the balance of things,
I don't think he's the one to trade, though, is my point.
Well,
and it's going to be controversial when I say this, and I may regret it, but I think that there's a Crouch brother that we should trade first.
Oh, I think so too. In fact, I think there's a case to say that the Crouch brother experiment is perhaps tied to a style of football that no longer works.
Well, I think there's not been, and we've talked about it a couple of times, but there's not been enough said about how the rule changes have impacted the way we've played.
Yeah.
Because it's changed completely.
Yep. And look, the other thing too is I think that we tried to, it appeared, of course we're not in the coach's box so we don't know, but it appeared that we tried to change our game plan to cater for the fact that we weren't quick. We were trying to shut the ball down. Tons of uncontested possession. Our uncontested possession stats went through the roof.
Yep.
So we're chipping through, trying to work it through.
win the ball in close and keep off.
And that worked for all of about 3 weeks until opposition
I'll give it
teams...
6 weeks it worked, I reckon.
Yeah, but then opposition teams worked out that we were just like seagulls to a packet of chips. And all they had to do was corral us and kill us on the outside.
Which is exactly what's been happening.
And that's exactly what's been happening.
And
so
that's fine, but yet again, Adelaide not having a plan B. So
I don't think we've got the personnel.
Well, no, because first we do. No, that's bullshit. We do. Because first half, we keep it in the contest and we kill teams. Second half, they cotton on, all right, they're just going to go get the ball. We'll just wait for them to come out and we'll tackle them and wait for the ball to spill out. At that point, we should change the structure and we're too slow.
Yeah.
We're too slow on making that decision.
And that's where 666 kills us.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the opportunity to get players behind the ball.
Yep, exactly.
And that's where in 2017 we had all that rebound off half-backers because we just used to sit back behind the ball.
And then just link up.
We didn't need a fast midfield.
No.
We just needed solid contests at half-back and then transition.
Yeah, because we had Smith and Seeds. And
now that our midfielders are actually having to work and actually be that conduit between the back half and the front half and also be the defence on transition going the other way, they're just not found. Like, Matty Crouch can't run. Brad Crouch couldn't give a stuff about running.
The thing is, those 3 players by themselves in a midfield, you got no issue. You're going to have one or at least, or maybe 2 of them in every midfield anyway. But you can't have 3 or 4 of them, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and I'll bet you anything at the moment that Brad Crouch is leading up best and fairest. I'll bet you anything. Him and maybe Alex Keith, right?
Yeah,
and it just goes to show you what our coaches look at when they're assessing.
Well, look, you got to give Brad credit. He was in some really good form earlier on in the year, and it didn't matter that he wasn't running defensively, and that's sort of what I'm getting at. Like, even though he was getting burnt the other way a little bit, his offensive output at that time was good enough that you could cop it.
Well, and we were also playing a game that covered him as well.
But since that sort of tailed, like his offensive output has tailed off a little bit, and then since we've started getting burnt going the other way, it's really found him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I showed some footage earlier in the year of his work against Geelong, and I think it was round 3.
Was it Rory pushing him to chase someone?
Well, no, that was against later, Richmond, where he was actually pushed to chase someone. But against Geelong, there were a couple of times out of centre clearances where he was playing on Danger, and Danger just burned him off, and Brad's just
I'm not going to catch him. Yeah,
no, giving up completely. So anyway, we'll get back to this game.
So now we're talking about our forwards and half.
No, we're still in the middle with Carlton and Adelaide. Yeah, well, we haven't really worked out who's going to win that battle. We've just bagged Adelaide, basically.
Well, I think we talked about Cripps before as well. I think you're right. He will be licking his lips because last time we played him, he was just do whatever you want, mate. Yeah. And he's an animal.
Well, who in our team has got the same work rate as Patrick Cripps?
You would have said Sloane, but Sloane at the moment seems to be tailing off a little bit on form. And he's also struggling with a tag, so you'd think that maybe not.
So what? No. What would you do with that?
I put Sloane on Cripps.
Absolutely.
But see, Pike's done that before, and I don't know why he's stopped doing it, because whenever someone's gone to Sloane, his immediate move, which I think is a smart one, is to put him on their best midfielder and create a 2-on-1. But then really their tagger is null and void because all Sloane's doing is worrying about their bloke.
Yeah.
But for some reason they've stopped doing that again, or maybe it's not as effective, I'm not sure. But it doesn't seem to be as impactful as what it was when we first started doing it.
Either Sloane or Brad Crouch needs to be on Patrick Cripps.
Brad Crouch will get towed, I'm sorry.
Well, no, probably.
Not probably, he will.
No. The point is that they're our number 1 and number 2 midfielders, right? Patrick Cripps is Carlton's number 1 midfielder. So either Brad or Sloane needs to go on Cripps. I agree with you that Crouch is not up for it, and that is indicative of his work rate.
Yeah.
So Sloane has to go on Cripps.
Yeah.
Sloane has, and if he drags a tagger with him, so be it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sloane and Cripps. Remember when Walshy put Danger and Fife head to head, and they both it was like a heavyweight championship.
It was awesome. Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
No one doubts Rory's intent and his his passion and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But he needs to put that up against Patrick Cripps, because I think Patrick Cripps has his measure when it comes to intent and passion. Patrick Cripps is the heart and soul of that football club.
Yeah.
And Rory is really the heart and soul of our football club.
Yeah.
So put them against each other.
Play them off. I don't mind that idea, to be honest. I think that'd be a good battle if they're both up for it.
Yeah. I worry about Riley Knight.
Yeah. See, again, another one. Had a really good first half and then undecided.
And then just died.
And you wonder, is that because he's playing predominantly outside last week, and once we started losing the ball inside, we stopped seeing Riley get the ball?
Why didn't Riley get put on freaking Merritt or Zaharakis or Shield, for goodness sake?
Because we don't do things like that in the coach's box. We're reluctant to. We're getting too negative.
No.
Getting too negative. All right.
I'm looking for ways to win, and one of them would have been to drop Riley Knight.
I don't agree with that. Sorry,
I don't think he's in the team. But anyway, let's look at our forwards. And who can tell? I don't think Brad Crouch will be there.
I think they'll rest someone down there. That's what
I think Brody will start at half forward.
I hope they do.
I think Brad will be in the middle.
Yep.
I think Miller will be off half back, and Atkins will be on that wing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I don't think you'll see Brad, and I don't think you'll see Paddy Wilson start in the guts. So let's assume that that's pretty much the case. Tommy Lynch is going to be key because, and this is the other point I wanted to make about Eddie. Sorry, while I'm thinking about it. Why would you drop Eddie Betts when you're playing against Carlton, which he always gets up for?
Yep.
We're playing in the MCG, which out of all of our team, he's got
the most experience.
Hundreds of games more experience.
Yep.
Anyway. So Tom Lynch is key on the big MCG.
Yep.
Because we know...
Big open spaces, needs to work his ass off.
Well, otherwise we're going to get lost.
And look, I thought that last week he was a bit rusty, but I still thought his intent was good, and he got bashed up a little bit as well. He was getting knocked around from pillar to post and sort of soldiered on, which is good, but turned the ball over a lot.
Horrifically.
In key moments as well. There was a few in the third quarter. It's like, Tommy, what have you done?
Yeah.
And he's a bit prone to doing that when he's not 100% on, but he's been out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So, you got to give him a game.
Yeah.
But you made a good point before the cast. Why didn't he get that game in the twos to get his touch back?
Yeah. Well, particularly when we played Benny Davis for a game.
Against Geelong.
Yeah.
In one of the best, in one of the most important games of our season at the time.
Here's what I think on the big open MCG, right? We've got two hard-running lead-up style players, Tom Lynch and Taylor Walker.
Yep.
Right? I would like to see our midfield play defensively, because I think the other thing that's been happening over the last few weeks is our back six have got up a bit too high. So we get a bit burnt on transition.
Yeah.
I would like to see our back six sit back a bit. I'd like to see our midfield sit back a bit. And I'd like plenty of space for Walker and Lynch to work.
Well, that's just normal football,
No,
isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't use text like that.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but that's just normal football, isn't it?
Well, it is when you've got a slow team like we have.
Well, just in general, like...
Well, no, because Essendon, Richmond, those sort of Western Bulldogs even, they like running ahead of the ball. They're like forward passing, always forward.
But they don't have two key lead up forwards.
No. But that's what I'm saying. So you've got those hard running teams that are just pass it forward, get it forward,
because they don't have a key forward. Yeah.
Whereas with us, I think what we need to do is push Taylor and Tommy
up the ground
to play high half forward and using them between the arc and the wing.
Well, you look at what Taylor does on the way back to goal as well.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Because then we've got Jenkins, one out against probably, I'd say, Wiedering.
Nah, it'd be Liam Jones.
No, I reckon they'll put Jones on Walker, to be honest.
Nah, Wiedering will go to Walker, I think.
You reckon?
Well, because Wiedering, even though he's big, isn't big like what Jenkins is, whereas Liam Jones is a big, strong lad. I think that Jones will be the one they put on him.
On who?
On Jenkins.
That's what I said.
I thought you were talking about Jones on Walker.
Anyway, the thing is, what we need to do is I reckon we need to have Jenkins one out.
Yeah.
And let Stengel and Murphy work at their feet.
Yep.
With Tex and Tommy coming back in and our wingmen coming back in. Having our core midfielders playing
behind the ball,
defensive side behind the ball.
Yeah.
On the big open MCG, I think we need to give Jenkins as much space to work as possible because he will exploit whoever he's on, whether it's Jones or Wiedering. He will exploit them for his engine.
Yep.
if he's on. We got to talk assuming Josh is on.
Well, hang on. Leave Josh alone as well, because Josh has been all right as well since he's come back.
No. I'm just saying that he needs to be on his game in order to deliver that.
Yep.
Yeah, so if we end up with this stodgy chipping around the 50 arc and then a little shallow kick that misses the target and then it just bounces out, we're going to be cooked. And I think we haven't seen enough of an open forward line with the Adelaide teams. We tend to crowd everything up. People ask why Tex and that don't get the balls because they've got no space to work into. I'm actually
sick of arguing with people about it. I know it sounds ridiculous, but people just don't understand.
It's simplistic to say that. And look, I've been critical of Tex at times because I think that
when he deserves it though.
Yeah. But the simple fact is at the moment and Mark Rasciuto said it on radio, there's a disconnect between our midfielders and our forward line. Well, no shit, Mark. But what are you doing about it? You're the director of football.
Well, he's on the selection committee as well.
So let's face it, he's on every committee. But, he's right, but it's been obvious to everyone that's followed the Adelaide Footy Club all season.
The last year. Yeah.
So, and the one thing that we haven't seen is an open forward line. We haven't seen clear out the forward line and let them work.
Yeah, do you remember at the start of the year when we were talking about the 6-6-6 and we're really keen to see how Jenkins was going to go one out in the square?
Yeah.
When does that happen? We've got one of the biggest, baddest full forwards in the comp and we refuse to make him one out. What the frick is the point of having him? Like, I understand he's got other attributes that are helpful as well, but his biggest attribute, especially now that he's gotten his head around, contested aerial work and whatever when the ball's coming in high, why don't we just clear it out and let him go to work?
I've been an advocate for a long time of playing Tex and Lynchy as our two high half forwards. Tex is great on the burst, he's great on the turn, he's got the best field kick in our team.
Yep.
Lynchy is just gut run, run his opponent off his feet.
Yep.
We've got Josh Jenkins, who, for all his faults, this season and also last season, has shown that when he's 1 out...
He's very rarely beaten. And even if he does get beaten in the air, he kills his man on the ground.
So, and we've got one of the best small forwards in the game, although he's not playing this week.
Yeah, because apparently he's shit, so we dropped him.
Apparently he's shit and he doesn't like playing against his old team.
And he's too old and he's too slow and he doesn't put enough forward pressure on and all that sort of stuff, even though he kicked 6 2 weeks ago, but that's all right.
But so our preferred small forwards this week in Stengel and Lachlan Murphy could very well work at Jenkins' feet. And if someone would actually tell Josh where and when to run in an open forward line situation, he would kick 70 or 80 goals.
All he has to do, if we cleared the forward line out, is literally arm over like this, say kick the ball there, hold the space, push his man out, and then run 5 metres, and he's got it.
That's right. Every time. What he has to do. And why is it, Cam? See, I'm pissed off now. Because why is it that we have not... How have we been using Josh Jenkins? What has Ben Hart, that renowned forward coach Ben Hart, who was unfairly dumped from Collingwood after a year and was unfairly told last year by the Crows to try and find another job and was only kept on by the Crows because we lost Franco and Benny couldn't find another job and he was still under contract and we didn't want to pay him out and pay the luxury tax. Why hasn't that renowned forward coach helped Josh to understand where and when he should run? Because if we had that forward set up that way, with a nice open space with Tex and Lynchy driving up, taking lead-up marks and wheeling around and mids running through, Jenkins, like you said, he's 198 centimetres or 196.
No, he's 202, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's over 200 centimetres, I'm pretty sure.
He's a rather tall lad.
He's not short.
And he's big.
And he's like 150 kilos. He's massive. He's built like a brick
There
shithouse.
aren't actually many bigger forwards in the competition.
That's what I'm saying. We've got the biggest, baddest full forward in the comp, really.
And yet we do not exploit that. And not only that, not only has he got strength and size, but he's also got agility. So you give him the forward 50 and say, Josh, run there, what, patterns. Run your bloke off like diagonals, doubling back.
Yeah.
All you got to do is find space in front of you and run to it.
Like I said, Josh can hold in the square and just point to the spot he wants them to kick to. He doesn't need to do anything fancy. He doesn't need to do anything
drives
fancy.
me crazy.
But I agree with you about the Ben Hart thing because there is no forward line plan at the moment.
No, there's not.
There's not. And if there is, the players don't buy it and they're just doing whatever they want to do because they think that Ben Hart or Don Pike or whoever it is...
Or it's just not workable in practice.
Shit. Yeah.
It's just not... It's not able to be implemented.
Yeah, it's not realistic. Because all of our goals at the moment come from the talent of our players. It's not a system.
Well, the only time we get clear set shots at goal is when we spot up a bloke about 45 out, which is the easiest and least effective in terms of return... by just chip, and then spot up at 45. He's going to 50% of the time he's going to miss that shot because of the distance.
But then, and often it's Tex, and then we bag him for missing it because we think that because he can kick that far, he should kick it every time.
That's right. How often do we see a bloke take a mark 30 metres out after a little short, quick lead after a push off?
Yeah.
And the reason we don't see that is because no one's creating any space.
Yeah.
If you have a look.
And it's not done quickly either. We allowed the other team to set up.
That's right. Yeah. You have a look when you're watching viewers. You have viewers.
You
have a look this week against Carlton, and they'll probably make a liar of me now. But I'll bet you when we've got the ball on the wing, what you should be doing is leaving space between the ball carrier and the lead ups, and you will find that there's 2 or 3 blokes sitting in that hole, not giving our forwards anywhere to run.
Yep.
And it happens consistently.
Every week. Yep.
Consistently.
Agreed.
So, having said all of that, I think we've...
Hang on. We're getting carried away here. We're messing up with our structure. We're being exactly like the boys are on the weekend.
Well, no structure. We're talking about the forwards, aren't we?
Well, I thought we were done. I thought you were about to carry on.
No, I was just going to say, having said all that, I feel like even with Eddie out, we've still got the cattle to be able to really trouble Carlton's defence.
You've got the cattle every week. It doesn't make a lick of difference at the moment.
Correct.
It's all well and good to have the cattle, but if you've got no system, if you've got no structure, or you do have a system and it's a shit system, or you've got a system and the players don't know the system, or the system isn't realistic, or whatever, it's not going to work.
Correct.
So it doesn't fucking matter. We could have a bunch of cows running around and it still wouldn't work. It doesn't matter.
Well, Port supporters would say we are a bunch of cows.
Well, they're probably right at the moment, to be honest, to be fair.
Anyway, all right. So,
look, let's get on a positive track because I've been rambling and so have you. But in order for us to win, I think there's 3 players that we need. Like not, we need them to step up.
Yep.
We need another big game from Smithers. I loved his game last week. Even if we got pumped by 100 points, I still would have been happy to watch that game last week because I saw Smithers just absolutely tear the game open and it was fucking great. Loved it.
Yep.
So I don't need him to get 30 touches and kick 3 goals again, but I need a similar sort of output.
Yes.
And the biggest thing I liked about him was that when he was up around the contest, shit just happened. He manifested things, whether it was a cheeky little handball that you go, oh, how's he done that? Or a big kick into the forward line into space or whatever.
Yeah.
He makes things happen when he's around the ball. So him, again, up around the ball and having that impact is going to do big things for us. The other one I picked as well is Stengel coming in. He's got big shoes to fill. I know that people have been saying that Eddie...
And he's only got one game to do it because you know he's going to get dropped next week.
And Eddie this, Eddie that, he's no good, he's not putting on full pressure, rah. Tell you what, if Stengel doesn't rock up and do all of those things and also kick 2 or 3...
Or kick straight.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Then, we on that, basis of what we've dropped Eddie off, he's going to get dropped straight away as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of how we win, we really need him to do what Eddie does for us that no one notices and, that 1% of stuff. And, trying to dive for the smother or whatever that just puts that little bit of pressure on the ball coming out. We need that from him as well because that's what he's in the team for.
Yeah.
And then the other one I've forgotten. And then the other one I want, and just because I just think he needs to just give everyone the big fucking double bird and tell them to fuck off and have a good game, is Tex.
Yeah.
I think that he's the whipping boy. He's an easy target for people. And I think that if he gets up and about and comes out and just puffs the chest out and does his little strut thing and starts knocking blokes around, it'll lift the team automatically because when he's up and about and when he's got that bravado thing going on and kicks 2 or 3, has a massive shot from 60 and nails it, we win.
Yeah.
And I really hope he does because I'm fucking sick of people talking shit about him, to be honest.
Here. For Carlton, look, I think it's quite simple. They need to kick goals, and that's Harry McKay. I think,
Cadwell can't do it because he can't kick straight.
Well, no. Although it has improved. But,
he has.
Whether we put... I think we'll start with Talia on McKay. And I think... Yeah, I think so. And I think Tarly, only because Casbolt is that big, strong guy, and I think Hardigan is probably the more natural
it's probably
setup.
cool. Yep.
And I think also, I think with Hardigan, I think you'll find that Casbolt will play very much stay at home, whereas McKay will lead a little bit.
Yep.
But I think Tarly's going to struggle with McKay.
I think so too. He's struggled all year, I believe. He's had good games.
He's had a very funny season.
It's very inconsistent.
There's certain forwards, big strong forwards, he struggles with.
Yeah, like Hawkins and Kennedy and that.
Yeah. So McKay, if he works hard enough, will get enough opportunities.
Yep.
And he can kick a goal.
Yep.
He's a good kick for goal, actually.
Very good kick for goal.
And yep. And he can take a mark on the lead.
Yep.
And I think he's going to be a real handful. And I think his output is going to be key for Carlton. Obviously, Patrick Cripps on half a leg. You know, we've talked enough about Patrick Cripps, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Adelaide match up. I really do hope that they get creative and put Sloaney on him. I think they might consider putting Riley Knight on him.
Which would be a mistake.
Yeah.
He's not a good matchup for him.
No, I don't think so at all.
You know who would have been a good matchup for him? Hugh Greenwood.
Not quick enough.
Paddy Cripps isn't quick, Dad.
Oh, he's quick enough.
No,
he's quick enough. I think Sloaney is actually a really good matchup.
No, I agree. But if we're not going to put Sloan on him, I think that Greenwood is a better matchup than Riley Knight.
The thing about putting Sloaney on him is that it makes Cripps a little bit conscious going the other way.
Yeah, probably.
It allows Adelaide to maybe stop Cripps running ahead of the ball a bit.
Yeah.
But I think Cripps is key for Carlton.
To be honest, that's not what he does.
No, it's true. He wins his own ball.
He gets his own ball. He's their cold-faced winner, and that's why I'm saying Greenwood, because Greenwood matches him in the contest.
Yeah.
And so does Sloan, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. It will make him accountable, because if we put Sloan on him, Sloan can be damaging going our way.
That's right.
And it'll make Cripps think about it.
That's right. And I also think that, and it's a bit hard to tell from, I can't tell, and I'll take your opinions on this, but whoever plays on Tom Lynch, I think is going to be very key. Given that it's on the MCG, Lynch is 2 games in now. Everyone knows that he's our conduit, blah, blah, blah.
Well, they can go a few ways about it. They could put a Daisy Thomas on him, who's a hard runner, who is a medium height, that could probably match him in the air and probably match him around the ground. Or you go a Plowman, who's, again, mid-height. They're probably not going to want to put Simpson on him because he's too small and they rely on him rebound.
Yeah, no.
Same with Newman as well.
I think Thomas, because I think Thomas can actually hurt Tom going the other way.
Well, and that's the other thing as well, yeah. So they rely on Thomas to go with their rebound with Simpson as well. But really, their 2 main rebounders at the moment are Simpson and Newman. You think that Daisy's probably the one that they'd be willing to sacrifice, but I don't really know enough about Carlton to give you a definitive idea.
I think if Thomas takes Lynch will drag him up the ground a bit, but if Thomas can match him, then he can be quite damaging, forward to centre. So I think for whoever they play on him, I think needs to not only be able to nullify Tom, but also be able to hurt him the other way, because Tom himself is not great defensively.
Well, that's the thing about Tommy. He's all offence, and that's fine because that's what we need from him, but if he gets a player on him that's also got a bit of an attacking mindset as well, he gets found out a bit.
Yeah. So they're my 3.
Yep. No, I'd agree with that, to be honest. So, look, if you're... Who's their coach now?
David Teague.
Yeah. How do you reckon Carlton win?
Oh, look, I think it's work rate for Carlton.
Yeah?
I think the way to beat Adelaide at the moment is simple work rate.
Stay with us long enough?
I think so. And look... You'd only have to show Carlton, footage of the last couple of weeks to make the players understand that it doesn't matter whether Adelaide are 4 goals behind or 4 goals in front. If you stay with them long enough and put pressure on them and make them work, they don't have the appetite for it.
Yeah. Now, eventually, they'll stick with you for a half.
Yeah.
But then after that, they'll lose interest.
Yeah, that's right. And all you've got to do is stick with it.
Yeah.
Let me as the coach make the changes that I feel necessary to get the balance right. You blokes just work hard.
Yep.
Make the most of your opportunities. Work hard. I mean, let's face it, Carlton still aren't a great team. There's a lot of holes in that team.
There is. They've got a lot of young talent in there as well. Inexperience can be a little bit up and down because that's just what young players are like. Yeah. A lot of talent, but holes.
Yeah. And so they're bottom third of the ladder type team. So you would expect that they don't have a lot of class. Not really.
Petrovsky-Seton, Mark Murphy.
See, I wouldn't call either of those players classy. Not in a Dylan Shield mould.
Yeah, Mark Murphy is on the other end of it, but used to be of that calibre.
Used to be, but he's not now, Cam. He's not now.
I disagree with that.
He's lost the yard, and I think he relies a lot more on work rate these days.
Yeah, but he's also not the main man anymore, and I think that's helped him. Petrovsky-Seton is silky. He's not. He's one of those players that doesn't need a lot of possessions to have an impact. He's their prime ball user as well. The other one as well is Walshy. He's a bit of a Rolls Royce. So don't sleep on him. I get what you're saying. They're not, top four.
No,
they're not quite finals, but there's still some class in that midfield that will burn us if we're not careful.
Yeah, and I think what Teague's done has got them playing with a bit of passion, like you mentioned before. Yep. And I think it'd be very easy to motivate Carlton this week, wouldn't it, if you're David Teague?
Yeah.
They've been laughing at us all year because they reckon they got the better end of the draft swap.
Yeah.
They think we're crap. I'm their ex-coach, and I can tell you all this inside stuff about every player. We're on the up and up.
They're on the down.
They're on the down. They lack passion. We've got passion in spades. Go out there and smash them.
Yeah, and we're playing on the G where they don't play.
Exactly. So not hard to find motivators if you're David Teague.
No.
And I think it will come down to work rate for Carlton.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Look, if I'm Pikey... Look, actually, I'm not going to say if I'm Pikey because I don't think Pikey would be saying what I'm going to say. But I think the biggest thing for us is when we're kicking the ball forward...
Kick it to someone?
Kick it to someone is the biggest thing I'd say. Because... good things happen when you hit someone on a lead going forward.
Yeah.
When you kick to someone's advantage going forward,
it's amazing.
It makes them, have the ability to take the mark and then kick goals.
Yeah.
One of the things I've written as well for us, in order for us to win, is to kick more goals than the opposition.
Yeah,
because that tends to work as well.
That helps. Yeah.
And for fuck's sake, can someone in the midfield man up?
Yeah, please.
Please. I don't care if our midfielders don't have an offensively brilliant game. If we are high pressure. High tackling, high contested possession in the coalface, and stop supply from their midfield into their forward line. I'd be happy. I don't care if they all have 16 possessions each, but we clog the game up for them going their way and just let our forwards do the attacking. We don't need them to kick goals at this stage.
Agree.
We don't.
Agree.
So, for fuck's sake, someone man up on the way out. I don't care how slow you are. You're in the team. You're an AFL footballer. You got to chase.
Yep.
I don't care if you're chasing Paddy Dangerfield and you're Brad Crouch and you're never going to catch him. I want to see you run your fucking ass off to get him, because there's not enough of that. And everyone that's ever played in juniors, it's like it doesn't matter if you're fast or slow. You chase that person regardless of whether you're going to catch him, because you're not going to catch him if you don't chase anyway.
No.
So you've got to actually physically chase someone.
And implied pressure is a beautiful thing.
Because if someone hears footsteps, it doesn't matter how close you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So, for me, forward entries and just a bit of defensive pressure with the ball going their way. Please, someone. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
I don't think it's too much to ask.
Thanks. I agree. That's why I said it.
So, after all that, mate, the ranting, the raving, the desperate pleas, the lamenting, how do you think it's going to play out?
Crows by 10 goals. We win. I've changed my mind.
Have you?
Yeah, I've convinced myself.
Really?
Yep. 10 goals. We win.
10 goals. You know what? I'm a bit dumbfounded. All I want to see is someone, or the group of Adelaide football players. All I want to see is that they collectively give a shit. I want to see that they care. And in order for that to be visible, they have to do the things that you said. Run, hit targets, stick tackles.
Oh, God, we didn't talk about that. Fucking hell. We'll be here for another half an hour.
Stick tackles, second efforts, a bit of gut running, desperation. That's what I want to see. At the end of the day, I'd be happy if we lost if I thought, you know what, they absolutely
I've been saying that all year. I don't care if we lose. It's the way we lose if we're going to lose.
If they dig in, if they make it hard to play against, if they hurt the opposition.
If the team is genuinely better than us at our best, you cop the loss. But what hurts, and every Adelaide supporter will appreciate and agree, regardless of their view of the way the team or who should be playing or whatever, is when we lose poorly, that's what we can't take.
Yeah.
But if they gave everything and 110% and left everything out on the field and just on the day couldn't get the job done, you wear that.
Yep, that's right.
But it's not happening at the moment.
Right. No, that's right.
And it's not that they don't try. That's not what I'm getting at. But there's too many passengers in that
there's
team.
trying and then there's trying. That everyone who's played footy or sport in general knows that you can try, but then there's
anything really
different levels of trying.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I think I think most of the team are picking and choosing when they try.
Here's a question for you: Has Pikey lost the players?
Interesting question. I don't believe that they look like they believe in what's going on down there.
That's why I asked it, because there doesn't seem to be buy-in. There's either a disconnect between the message coming from the box to the players or the message that's being delivered to the players aren't buying into for various reasons, whether it's they don't believe in the game plan will work, whether it's they can't execute the plan, whether it's too complicated, whatever. There's disconnection there.
I tell you what I saw, and it's only just occurred to me, I remembered. Go back and watch the Essendon game, and I think it was towards the end of the third or halfway through the fourth. There's some footage of Don Pike on the bench it came down to the bench, and he's talking to players as they're coming off. And I've seen footage like that earlier in the season, and there was one distinct thing that I noticed that was different. Earlier in the season when Pikey was doing it, the players were attentive, they were looking at him, they were nodding, they were talking with him and all the rest of it. What I saw in that very same circumstance against Essendon is players looking away, not eyeballing him.
Watching the game,
sort of like, yeah, whatever, Don. It was a distinct and noticeable difference in the attitude between the player and the coach. And it wasn't just one player. It was 3 or 4 different players that I noticed during that footage.
Do you reckon that's legit, or do you reckon that's just circumstance? I mean, this is all speculation.
It's speculation. It's speculation. Well, put it this way. Let's join the dots. They don't look to be playing with any sort of belief in themselves, in each other, or in the game plan. They seem to be clocking in and clocking out. And I think that always comes down to team cohesion and motivation. And who drives that? Coach.
Well, there's a few, but yeah.
The coach and the leadership group.
Yeah.
But my opinion is that there's been a division down there for a while, and I think that there's not total buy-in.
Do you reckon there's a bit of backlash about Tex? Because I feel like at times that, and this sort of leads into what I was talking about with him not being used, do you reckon the blokes that playing in his teams are a bit fed up with him? Because he gets overlooked by them going forward a lot, and I can't tell whether it's because they just don't see him, whether it's not game plan to kick to him, or whether they just don't want to kick to him. Because he gets burnt a lot, and I'm wondering if there's more to that. And look, again, this could be freaking nothing. I don't know.
Well, there's been times when I have been surprised that Tex hasn't continued on with his lead and punched the bloke that's just kicked it to someone else in the face.
That's why I'm asking, because there was a few times where he's been burnt on the weekend against Essendon, and he's yelling, like, what are you doing? Kick me the ball, I'm by myself.
Yeah. But again, that's coaching. At the end of the day, that's coaching, because I find it difficult to believe that there's any sort of mindset that we won't kick it to Tex, we're fed up with Tex. I think the fact that Tex is not getting hit up is partly because of game plan and structure. But if you watch, particularly if you ever get a down-the-ground view when that's happening, or a replay, we are too afraid with ball in hand to pull the trigger at the first option.
Lay someone out,
We will look. It's like a quarterback. You're covered, and then he'll take about the fourth option. We do the same. We are shit scared of pulling the trigger on the first option.
Yeah, there's only a couple of blokes in our team that'll do it.
And you and I both know that as a leading forward, once you've presented, you've presented.
Yeah.
And Tex will always time his leads quite well.
Yeah, normally.
But it relies on the blokes upfield being conscious and aware of where Tex is likely to be, turning around quickly and being prepared to take the opportunity.
Well, that's sort of what I'm getting at, though. Before, we had no issues hitting techs up, but recently it's really not been that way at all.
Well, and I think it's a combination of fear of failure, like fear of turning it over,
Yep.
a lack of urgency,
Yep.
and I think just a general mindset of trying to hit the perfect lead up.
Yeah, trying to find. But see, the problem with that, though, is that we try and do that, but then there's no one there, so then we end up just dumping it long anyway.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. So you haven't given me your tip yet, by the way.
Well, you kind of threw me a couple of questions without notice, which are good. Look, I think Carlton will win. I think Carlton will win by about 4 goals. I don't see us turning around. No. I wish we were battling for top 4, and really, we should be.
Who's to say?
But we're not.
What if we just turn around and do a Western Bulldogs and win from 8th or 7th?
Love it.
Love it, Murray.
Yeah.
Love it, Murray.
Do you think that's going to happen?
No. Doesn't mean it won't.
I don't think it'll happen. Western Bulldogs did that on some good senior players and a whole bunch of kids.
Well, Western Bulldogs did it. Like, they had heaps of injuries, and that's why they were that low, but they were still playing good footy, whereas we're not playing good footy.
No. What I'm saying is I think that sort of drive to a flag is just as much down to youth and enthusiasm. Yeah. And most of our youth and enthusiasm is playing in the 2s. So Carlton by 5, I think.
Oh, it's 5. It was 4 before.
No, well, there was a bit of time on.
Yeah, okay.
And that's really going to put a lot of pressure on a lot of people.
See, there's part of me, and it sounds a bit negative, but there's part of me that wants us to lose on the weekend. Because
I understand what you mean. You don't want us to lose, but you want some change.
Yeah, I think that'll be... If we win, it's just going to be putting a Band-Aid over bigger issues.
I understand.
But if we lose, surely there's going to be some more questions asked about coaching staff, player selection, whatever.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll have to see how that goes. Look, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks very much to Ryan at Smith Partners Real Estate for his ongoing support. Thanks to Down to Earth Electrical for all your electrical needs. And most of all, thanks to all our patrons on Patreon. If you want to support the Crowcast, go to patreon.com/AFL Crowcast or go to aflcrowcast.com and hit the orange Patreon button. Cameron, thank you very much. It's a welcome return to the Rev Up. And let's hope that we've got something nice to talk about on Sunday night, the Rap Show at 7 o'clock.
I hope so too.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.